important things.
Go ahead.
I just do whatever Kimberly tells me.
When you make a project, I'll be like,
That's what she tells me. Honestly, I just look for a coachable team. I mean, so we had grit, and our team had their ups and downs, but they got through it. Would they have done it the way that I would do it? No, but that's not my role as a mentor. Somebody who can take feedback, the inverse of what John's saying, actually. I don't know. Fiercely.
I think in choosing the team, I'm trying to look back over the teams that I've been involved in. And I think it's the same thing. I think what you're looking for in a mentor is probably the same thing we're looking for in a mentee from a perspective of how well the teams communicate, how coachable they are. Humility is a good one. I wouldn't necessarily put it that way, but I think it's a great way to say it. And I think, like someone else said, I think that applies to both sides. I mean, sometimes as a mentor, if we're not careful, we get part of an idea and we think we have the answer. But we can make the same mistake by not really listening and understanding. So I think that applies to everybody involved. The more humility we have in the process and willingness to learn on both sides of the table, I think the better impact we can make.
So a couple things. One, I think you mentioned it, whatever Kimberly says, do that. That's always a good plan. But I would say for us, what you've heard, I think, is the fact that there was selections of mentors made by teams based on their deficiencies as a team. But you also heard the fact that you're trying to look for a good fit between the personalities on your team, mentor team, and your team. And I think both of those are critical. I think you need to look for as you evaluate the descriptions of the mentors, you're just looking at what their background is and what you think you need on your team. That's a great place to start. But when you go to the mixer, I guess, I don't know what you call it, but I felt like I was back in freshman year in college in the fraternity trying to go find a date at the football game. Those of you who never experienced that situation, don't worry about it, it's great. But you go to an event and you've read up on these people and you're trying to make a contact and you're trying to talk to them, and to me it just happened very naturally. There wasn't really any forced action. You just talk to people and see if you click with them. And some you will and some you won't, and you won't get all of the mentors that you select. And then you look at the team and say, well, okay, here we go. And you listen to what they have to say, and in our situation, we didn't have anything to offer, so we just listened and tried to do what they told us to do. And our mentor team was phenomenal. It really was great. And I haven't heard anything to the contrary from any team I've talked to. So there might be some things that you need to work through. The mentors are great, and oh, by the way, they're here on their own time. They're not getting paid to do this, I don't think. And so Anthony gets paid
too, but Pretty gets double what I got.
exactly right, double up zero, right?
Double zero.
So I think the thing to recognize is that these are folks that are successful, otherwise they wouldn't be here, and therefore, why would we argue with anything they have to tell us? We may not understand it, but the only other difficult thing was when you had conflicting advice from two different mentors on the team. That's a little difficult because you trust both of them, both of them have the best interests at heart, but then you kind of go, well, what do we do? Well, you got to pick. And so I think at that point, it's your company. You've got to decide what to do, have a reason for why you wanted to do it, and the mentors will go along with it and say, all right. And when that fails, you figure out a different
Give me the
solution.
example that you had briefly of how there was conflicting information from two mentors.
Do you want an example?
LLC, C Corp.
Oh, okay. I have one other one, but so we had that's actually the biggest one. So we had one mentor that was suggesting we do a C corporation, and one mentor that says no, I really strongly feel like you should be an LLC. Well, our group didn't have a clue which either of them were, and so what we did as scientists is said, okay, They're expecting us to make a decision. Let's go spend time researching these things and figure out which one fits the best. So we spent weeks researching this because that's what we do as researchers, and we just got stuck.
But you were very happy.
Do what?
But you were very happy.
We were very happy. And so it's like, man, I'm learning all this great stuff about LLC, and then we still got to the end and thought, okay, I hear what you're saying, but we don't understand why one feels this way and one feels the other. And both of them said it's because of taxes. Okay. You know, it's kind of like you lost me at corporation. So we, is this being recorded? So bottom line is our mentor team said, finally our lead mentor said, go talk to this guy. He's an attorney in town. He does this for a living. Tell him what you want to do and he'll help you make the decision. We did it. We had it finished in 2 days and we were moving. And I promise you, if somebody hadn't gone, then we'd still be there right now. Because our deal was to perseverate on, we just didn't want to make a mistake. We wanted to do a good job for our team, but we didn't know. So we just, go do it. Do something, even if it's wrong.
So we can go for one last question. And this is for the mentees. What's the one biggest learning from the program? What's the one thing that you think back? What's the biggest? And we start with Kevin. Give Lindsay some time to think. Go ahead.
So I can barely remember this orientation day when I went through it. Was it been a year?
Yeah, it's been a year.
Okay, so my summers are really, really busy teaching-wise. My contact time and teaching is 20 hours a week, so half of my week, and that doesn't include all my administrative stuff. I remember sitting in this room, but I don't remember a single thing that happened. I remember signing some paperwork to get an ID badge, which took me another 8 months to get. I think I got a key at some point. Point is, you need to pay attention to what's happening today.
It's really valuable.
It's really good information. And when you show up to your first mentor meeting with your mentor team, whom you've picked and they've picked you, make sure you know what you're supposed to show up with, like an agenda, and that you've communicated well. And it seems kind of silly, but we just, all of us were so busy with things in our day job, we just didn't know, we just weren't sure what the expectation was. And looking back, it was real clear. It's all described today, but we just, I mean, I showed up to Accelerator and I was like, okay, we're going to go on Mondays and watch some things, and I'm going to go through a kind of a mini MBA thing, and okay, this sounds really fun, this will be great. No idea what we were going to do. And so pay attention, take care of the stuff you need to take care of, make sure you show up with an agenda on the first mentor meeting. Interesting story, we had, I'm the only person on our 4-person team that hasn't been the CEO of our company. I don't know what that means. So, but what I know is that I'm the CFO because nobody else wanted to do it. And they trusted me, I guess from an integrity standpoint, to handle it, but nobody wanted the CFO. That's the only reason I'm not the CEO. But I would say our team succeeded because in times when one of us was really busy, the other ones picked up the slack. And our team functioned very well in that regard. And so it is about the team. It's not about you. And if you think it's about you, you're going to fail. It's not about you. It's about your team. It's about your company. And these people that are spending their time with you are doing it because they want to, not because they have to. And you need to respect that. So our mentor team was fabulous. So I appreciate their effort.
Hey, I'm really sorry. I have to know. What did you choose?
LLC. And now we're talking about making that the umbrella company to build a separate LLC for a specific technology that can then, because we're in licensing with tech, I don't really want, who's in the room? I don't really want to, I don't know.
This guy, he's an expert.
I don't really want to give them our umbrella company. We want to give them,
Look at what you want.
right? So we're about to go develop an LLC under the LLC so we can give that to tech.
There you go.
Part of it. 5%.
In
A little bit.
And you said you were not a capitalist?
Oh, I make some money.
biggest lesson that I learned through this process was that there is a way to teach academians and researchers that if they leave the lab and go talk to people, they won't pass out. I mean, it really can be fun, and that's how you learn how to do things. And like Lindsay said, I'm the business guy, so they're always pointing to me. And that gets pretty lonely sometimes. But through this process, I'm the 51%, so I had to show up. I'm not the only one that showed up. The others wanted to come and to learn, and it was a great thing that had happened because there became a time in our process where I had to have that help, and they all jumped on it. And I think it was also them learning that it's okay to challenge and be challenged. Don't take it personal. We're just trying to work out what the best choice is. So it's a great process.
I agree with everything John said, 100%. But the other things that were really interesting to me were little things like when we first started this, we're like, okay, we're going to sell this cup, we're going to sell it for $25. Its competitor is a 25-cent cup. And every mentor in the room was like, are you people out of your minds? Like, pretty much they called us stupid to our face the very first day, and we're going, no, it's not about what it's worth to you doesn't matter, it's what it's worth to the patient. And they're like, it should be $200. And we went, whoa, 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 no. And so we did some research and found a price, and that was interesting to me as an academic to go, okay, it's not a research project, it really is a product, it really is something that people want and need. All right, so they need it, let's get it out there. And so that really kind of drove my interest more into, okay, well, how do we do it? The other thing I learned is that I don't want to be an accountant. 5 minutes in the accounting lecture at Hub Camp taught me that the accountant at the company is going to get paid real well because I don't want to do it. I'm like, oh, yeah, my accountant will be paid forever because I'm out. So those are the things I learned.
How much is
You
the
know,
cup?
we know a good CFO.
What's the price of the cup?
But we finally settled on $79. Is that right?
We didn't settle on $79. We went out and talked to customers and clinics, and they told us
Yeah, they told
$79.
us.
So you did a proper market research.
We did.
Thank you. This was a great discussion. Any questions? Go for it.
So Dave, you talked about how you value mentees that are capitalists. If I could open it to all the mentors in the room, what are some things that you value in a mentee outside of being coachable?
I really appreciated the willingness of these scientists to tolerate my ignorance in the process, because I told them point blank, first meeting, I don't have a clue what your company does. And I meaning in the mentor process, I said, I think your plan's brilliant, I gave it high scores, and I don't have a clue what it does. But I could tell from your Vitas, you're all brilliant at what you do, and it was worth trying to fund this company. And then they said, well, will you mentor us? I said, I don't know what I can help you with. But I was very grateful that they took the time to explain it to me on layman's terms level. So being tolerant of our ignorance, while appreciating we aren't stupid, is very valuable. In other words, I don't know crap about their technology, but I know everything about what it's for now because they took the time to explain it to me in 15 minutes. But then they listened to me, and I appreciated that. So it was a very collaborative process of appreciate knowing what you know and knowing what you don't, as they've said all through this. That's what I felt.
The preparation, I was with Ryan on Pilot Flow, and like David mentioned, we are here for free. Our time is all over the place, especially with some of us with young businesses, young families ourselves. Ryan would email us before the monthly meeting so we could review what we were doing, and then when we're in the meeting, the time is very efficient. I think I know some frustrations there, but if you get to there and you don't know what you're doing or what we're supposed to talk about, you're not going to get the most out of the mentors that you can. So I think one thing he did extremely well was just, he was ready for us. We had 5 guys, most of us on the phone or on video chats. It's hard to kind of get everybody's opinions, but he was so prepared that it made it extremely easy. And I can see how without that, as a mentor, if you don't put the time into like working with us, we'll check out. Just because, again, we all have things we want to do to make money. So the stuff we volunteer for, I think is very important. And I think our meetings were successful because of that.
I have one that is being passionate. Oh. I always talk a lot, so therefore. But I want the team to be passionate about the product. If you don't care, if you are in this just because you want to be an entrepreneur, and you really don't care what product you sell, then it starts showing, and that's not a good one. I want you to want your product, be passionate about it, and that's very important. Okay, now I'll let him talk.
This has been my first time to be a mentor because I'm fairly new here, but I think just in business in general and dealing with clients and in business and in my own business, I appreciate decisiveness. I know that, it may not always be the right decision because I've made plenty of dumb ones, but I was decisive when I made them, boy, so I think a sense of decisiveness will give you the advice that you're looking for, but like John said, ultimately it's in your court, right? Make the decision and then move. Indecision is like the quicksand for a business because it'll just drown you. So be decisive, take all the information that you can, and then make that decision and move, right?
I don't exactly how to say this, but I appreciate when people really embrace what it means to be an entrepreneur, which is different than even what it means to go through an accelerator program or something. And those don't always happen, they don't both happen automatically, I guess. And what I mean by that is, if you're really going to turn something into a business, it takes a lot of hustle, it takes a lot of just plowing through whatever problems you face, which is a different thing than completing a program. And in this case, you have to do both. So I think that's really important to have that entrepreneurial mindset, like you don't get days off and stuff like that.
Or months.
Or months.
Finally then.
Yeah, I think the big thing I look for in anybody that I'm working with, whether it's alongside or in a mentorship capacity, is the commitment. And I'll ask, generally when I'm working with folks, I want to know what are some other things you've committed to that are long-term accomplishments and goals. Because you've got to have a track record to be successful in this game. You've got to have a track record of showing that commitment before. And so I look for that. And I think, to speak to what you just said, that entrepreneur wears a lot of hats. Some days you're an accountant. Some days you're an IT guy. It's a bad accountant, but you're an accountant. And you got to be willing to put on that different hat. And I think for most or many entrepreneurs, there's a lot of engineers that don't want to jump out there and go talk to a whole lot of people. And that's one of the biggest challenges that people face. That is where the capitalism comes in. It's not, we were talking about it earlier, it's not the field of dreams. If you build it, they will not come. You're going to have to get it out there at some point and sell it. And you can sell a bad product with a good sales guy a lot easier than you can sell a good product with a bad sales guy. And so testing your boundaries is probably the biggest thing. If you're an engineer, somebody asks you to make 40 calls one day, just make the 40 calls. You need to. Go get in front of that person in a face-to-face meeting and do the pitch, but practice it like crazy ahead of time. But it's pushing those boundaries day after day and get better. And that's everything, but it's certainly in this game that we're playing here.
Other questions from mentees?
So what's next? You're about to graduate. Are you going to continue those relationships, or what's your next step as far as your relationship with mentor teams?
I think we're going to maintain a relationship with many of our mentors. Let's not emailing us back right now. We made a commitment. I kind of feel like it's how I feel about I'm not a mentor, so I don't know, but I kind of envision it's how they feel like I do for my graduate students. Kara's my graduate student. So, you know, I want to keep track of Kara and see how she's doing. If she needs something, I'm going to offer it to her, and I would hope that our mentors would feel that way about us.
I know I have mentor relationships that I had 5 years ago. I'm still trying all of them to help them move along. It's a devotion, it's family.
You want to respond?
It really is.
Yeah, you know, we expect at some point, some or, I don't know, we haven't gotten this far to figure out who our advisory board would be, but I expect some of our mentors to serve in that capacity at some point. We're not there yet. We're not at that phase of development in our company, but I would fully expect some or all of our mentors to serve, or at least we would want them to consider serving in that capacity. They've invested a lot of time and effort in our company, and we value that continually. I think we have a commitment from all of them that basically said, call us if you need us. And I fully expect that if we call them, they're going to do everything they can to help us. So.
On graduation day, on Wednesday, each one of the companies from cohort 1 will be doing a 6-minute presentation. Where were they before they started? Where are they today after the accelerator program, and where they're going in the next year? So you'll kind of get a real succinct summation of, you know, the growth of each one of the companies. So it should be really good. Yeah. How are we doing on time? Good.
Thank you to the panelists.